Donald Trump's campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, is on the phone with us. Corey, why are the campaigns taking things into their own hands when it comes to the debates?
Well, I think what you heard from the candidates' campaign managers last night was they want to directly interact with the hosts of the debates to ensure that there is equity in the number of questions which are asked, equity in the type of questions which are asked, and also to be able to get the information as early as possible to the campaigns so that they understand what the formatting criteria is and also the criteria of who will be on what is widely considered the main debate stage and who may not qualify for that. So the campaign managers got together to talk through those things, and there was a lot of discussion, and at the end of the day, I think everyone decided that more information which is provided to the campaigns is better than less information.
Corey, what bothered you more from the last debate, the content of the questions or the actual format?
Well, I think it's the content. If you look at it compared to the debate which the Democrats held, I think it was many more gotcha questions, asking questions about, specifically about Mr. Trump and his moral character to Governor Huckabee. I don't think is an appropriate question. Asking questions about if he's a comic book, campaign. Those aren't questions that the American people want to hear. They want to hear substantive questions and get substantive responses. And I think, those networks do a disservice to the American public when they try and make gotcha questions, or they have the moderators who become the story when I think the American people are tuning in to actually hear substantive answers to real policy questions like tax policy and Obamacare and crisis in the Middle East, etc.
Well, Corey, do you want editorial control then?
No, it's not so much editorial control. It's about equity and fairness. And I think, when you're running for the highest office in the land, you should have the ability to answer those tough questions. And those are the questions that should be posed. And I think there are fundamental differences between the candidates on issues like Syria and how to deal with ISIS and how to fix the economy and how to get our country moving again, how to renegotiate trade deals. Those aren't the questions that were being asked. The questions that were being asked were more gotcha questions, and I don't think that's what the American people wanted, and that's not what they tuned in for.
Corey, would Donald Trump boycott a Telemundo debate?
I think it's premature to answer that. As you know, the RNC has suspended the debate right now, which was tentatively scheduled to be NBC Telemundo National Review, based on the CNBC debate which took place last week. And so, any further discussion about that is just too premature. The RNC has suspended that, barring some changes which need to be made. And so until the RNC decides that debate is still going to take place, it's just too premature to talk about it.
Corey, do you think there are too many candidates on stage, and is there any talk of cutting down the number?
Well, part of that criteria is going to be determined by the networks. They have a significant influence of who makes the, quote, main debate stage or who makes the other debate stages. Part of that criteria is polling data, and what we've seen in the past is that, 10 candidates have made the last debate stage because the criteria was that if you were polling at 2.5% or higher in the national polls that were recognized, you'd be on the main debate stage. I think as the debate process continues to move forward, you'll see that criteria raised so that you have candidates who are, more likely to be the nominee than less being on that main debate stage, and the others may participate in a different debate.
Corey, how critical do you think that the November 10th Fox Business debate is going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be a sharp contrast to the CNBC debate from what we just saw. I think, what you'll see is Fox Business, as they have said, is going to look more at the issues. They're going to talk more about specific opportunities to fix the economy. They're going to talk about the impact of what is widely termed as Obamacare. None of those issues were raised in the CNBC debate. So I think what you'll find is that is going to be a much more substantive debate, which is what I think the American people want in the first place. And I think it's an opportunity for Mr. Trump to exceed and do very, very well as he has in the last 3 debates.
Corey, let's talk about the primary race a little bit. Several of the latest polls show Mr. Trump trailing Ben Carson in Iowa. How worried are you?
I don't think that's true at all. I think, if you look at, polling which is continuing to come out today, you saw a new poll in New Hampshire which shows Mr. Trump with a clear lead at 30-12. The latest national polls have Mr. Trump either ahead or tied with Dr. Carson. I think, we have a huge ground game in the state of Iowa. There'll be more polling coming out today, I think, as a matter of fact, in the state. So we're very, very comfortable with where our position is in Iowa. We're very comfortable with our position nationally. And it's because you have an individual who has a proven ability to create jobs, jobs and stimulate the economy. And Dr. Carson is a very fine man, but if this country wants to get back on track financially, there's only one person in this race who can do that, and that's Mr. Trump.
All right, Corey Lewandowski, campaign manager for Donald Trump, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.